Mikey and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be doing another heater, which is the acronym for a horribly edited, totally unscripted ramble. Today's ramble is going to be about Criminal Minds Season 1, and yes, I am talking very fast because I am super excited. This has been my special interest for a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years, and I am so excited to make a YouTube video about it. I'm so excited. I will be doing every single individual season, talking about my likes, my dislikes, and my thoughts about the seasons. So yeah, if you're interested in watching that, here it is. Okay, let's get right into it. If you don't know what Criminal Minds is, we'll probably start there with a quick explanation of what Criminal Minds is. Criminal Minds is a crime cop show about the behavioral analysis unit, which is essentially just studying the psychology of criminals, and they catch criminals. It's a TV show all about that. It's completely fictional. Yeah, it's completely fake. It's not real. And I don't believe there's any based on any real stories. As I said, it has been my special interest for like 2 years, so this video is going to be all over the place with probably a lot of energy, and it's probably going to be a lot longer than a lot of my other videos because I will just continue to ramble. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's begin into the actual ramble now. So the characters in this season that I'm going to be talking about are Spencer Reid, Al Greenaway, Derek Morgan, Jason Gideon, Penelope Garcia, and Aaron Hotchner. And I believe that is all of the, and Jennifer Giroux. Those are all of the characters that are in this season that are repeating characters. They are the main cast of season 1, so they will be the characters I'll be talking about the most. And yeah. I think where I want to start is my least favorite episodes and go into kind of why I don't like them and a bit about them. My absolute least favorite episode, which I actually skipped in my rewatch through, this is my first time rewatching it, as I'm making these videos, that's why they might be a few months apart, is episode 18, Somebody's Watching. I hate that episode. I hated it when I first watched it. I thought it was boring, predictable, and I just didn't like it. I didn't even need to watch it again to know that I just didn't like it. Again, I probably think a lot of people probably like it. I can understand why people would, but it's just not for me. I don't like it. And if you want to know which episode that is without having to watch the episode, it is the episode where the actress is being stalked and like the people around her are dying and stuff like that, and it ends up being a photographer, and Spencer finds it out. They fall in a pool. They have like this love story in that episode with Spencer. So yeah, I don't know if that'll like pop up of what episode it is, but here's the like a screenshot of the episode to kind of show you, I guess. But yeah, I just don't like that episode. I find it boring and kind of predictable, so yeah, I just didn't like it. I'll be honest, and it's the only episode in this season that I skipped. I do have more favorites than not. I only have 2 episodes that I just thought were boring and predictable. The other one is episode 1, Extreme Aggressor. Now this is a pilot episode, and most of them are boring. I have never watched a pilot episode and gone, that is the best episode, because I do just find, because they have a smaller budget, it's literally like, this show might be good kind of thing. It's like a pitch episode, usually, and so I just find them to be too fast. They don't go in depth into the characters enough, and I do just find it quite boring. This episode went way too fast. They found the guy in like the first 10 minutes, which they don't usually do. They didn't really use Garcia a lot. I just didn't like it. I thought it was too fast paced, and I just thought it was quite boring, but I do think it's a good pilot episode nonetheless. On to my favourite episodes. There are 6 episodes out of the 22 episodes that I thought were absolutely amazing. The rest I thought were average. They were good, but they were just average. These ones were my absolute favourite. I'm going to start with episode 2, Compulsion. I love when Criminal Minds goes into like religious psychosis. I absolutely love when that happens. I think religious psychosis is extremely interesting, and in this episode there is a woman suffering from an OCD religious psychosis mixture, and she is setting people on fire, and burning people and stuff like that. And I think it's just a great episode. I really enjoy it. I do think that this would have been a great first episode. I do think it would have been less boring than Extreme Aggressor. But again, I do think Extreme Aggressor was made to get people in. That's why it's so fast paced. but I do absolutely love this episode, and I think it's a great episode to watch. And I think it's very interesting, and it shows off the character dynamics very well. The next one I'm going to be talking about is episode 9, Derailed. This is the episode where they're on the train, and Elle is on the train, and it's been taken over by a guy who is suffering a psychotic break. I think that episode is extremely interesting. I love that episode. I think there's a lot of twists and turns, and I think that it is just perfect. It's essentially, the episode is a bunch of people are trapped on a train with a guy who is suffering from delusions and psychosis, and they just have to try and get out and survive. I do think it's a great episode. I think it shows the compassion and care the characters have for each other. And I just love it. I truly do. I really just love it. The next episode, I think, is probably my favourite episode of the entire season, episode 14, Riding the Lightning. This episode is about a man who kills like a bunch of teenage girls, and it's set in a prison, and they're on death row. Him and his wife are on death row, except his wife is innocent, and she is trying to hide the fact that she didn't actually kill her son, and just send him away, so that his life would be better, because his parents, you know, are on death row, and his dad killed like upwards of 18 teenage girls and buried them in people's yards. So like I do the crew, the BAU, they do find this out. They Jason Gideon, I think that this really shows his care and compassion for people, because in the end he doesn't expose the child's identity. He lets her, she is executed in the end, and he goes through with her wish of his identity not being discovered and him not knowing who his real parents are, so that he can have a normal, happy, healthy life, without the burden of having a serial killer as a parent. And I think that it really shows Jason's care for people, which I love Jason. He's one of my favorite characters. And yeah, I just really like that episode. There's a lot of twists and turns. It can be a bit predictable, but also you don't really know what's happening, and there's a lot of in the mind, and it's just a lot, and I really love it. I think that everyone should watch that episode, even if you don't like Criminal Minds, even if you don't watch it. I think it's a great episode. The last episode I have written down is episode 22, which is the Kingfisher Part 1, which is the episode where Elle is shot at the end. I love when Criminal Minds does like a serial killer who like runs over multiple episodes. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. And I think that this episode really affects each member of the BAU differently. I think that it shows how much they truly care for each other and how close they are, because the characters are a bit cliche in the first season, and you don't really feel in depth with them too much. This episode, and the first episode of season 2, it really gets you to connect with these characters on a different level, because they show such human and in-depth emotions, and I think it's absolutely amazing. And that is why it's one of my favorite episodes, because it shows how close they have gotten over the season, over the year, because each season is about a year in time, I believe, and it shows how close they are and how much they care for each other, even though they are so closed off. I do really like that. Something I really like about season 1 is that the characters start off extremely cliche. Spencer Reid is the nerdy boy, Derek Morgan is the buff ladies man, Elle Greenaway is the female character who is trying really hard to make it in a boys' world, Penelope Garcia is a tech nerd, Jennifer Giroux is the pretty popular girl who's good at talking, Aaron Hotchner is the closed off leader who's a bit too harsh on his team, and Jason Gideon is kind of a bit off because he's been through so much, but he's a bit of a father figure, and I think that it's great that they start off cliche, because it helps them to build over the seasons. You get to know that even though they seemed cliche at the start, they are not. They're in-depth, real people, and it helps you to connect to these characters a lot more, because obviously a lot of people can fit into cliches, but no one is actually a cliche, if that makes sense. And I think that this show shows that really well, and it helps you to really get these characters more in depth, and it helps with the character building, because yes, you do start out with the cliche group of, you know, different people, but then you find out their similarities, their trauma and things like that, and it really helps you to connect to these characters on different level, and I think that that's something the show did absolutely amazing, and I really love that about the show. Something else I really love about season 1 is that the characters' relationship is already kind of there. They've already been working together for a few years. You kind of come in a few years into the job. The only new character that's new on the job is Elle, and you kind of see her try and fit into the group, which I think is good because she's supposed to be the main character, I believe, of the season, at least in my opinion. I think Elle is the main character of this season, in the group of main characters, and so you get to go along with her and her journey of going through it, but it's not centered fully around her. Something I really like about this show is that there's multiple main characters, and so you don't learn more really about other characters than you do about other characters, and all of the characters are kind of equally given screen time and equally given like the information to the viewer, if that makes sense. And so you really get to know the characters, and I think everyone can find someone they truly deeply relate to within the cast and within the group of main characters, because you know so much about each of them, and there's not just one main character and then the side characters. They are all the main characters, and you learn so much about them that I think everyone will find something to relate to in a character, and I think that's amazing for a show. I think that is so smart for them to have done that. I think that's great and just awesome. I will be completely honest, season 1 is not my favourite season of the 16 seasons that are in this show. I think that it is a great season. I love Elle. She leaves, I believe, at the end of season 2. I wish we got to see her more, but I do love her exit. I'll be honest. But I don't think it's my favourite season or even close to my favourite season out of all 16. It's season 1, they're trying to get their grip on things, they're trying to get their grounding, but I do think they do well for the lower budget they have, the fact that it was made in the early 2000s and stuff like that. I also do think that it's important to note that the show was made in the early 2000s because there is some language and some things they do in it that is like probably a bit kind of not okay, but again, it was made in the early 2000s. It's just kind of something you have to take, like something that comes with watching early 2000s and before shows. Like it's just, that's the language they use, and it's just kind of the way it is. So Spencer Reid is my favorite character. I love him. He's my favorite character the entire time, through the entire show. I think he is a lot of people's favorite character. I think he is so relatable. I think he is amazing, and I love him truly. But anyway, yeah, I did want to the thing is I'm trying to keep all of what I'm talking about into season 1, into just what's happened in season 1 so far, but I want to talk more in depth about the characters, but you don't learn that till the later episode, the later seasons, and so it's really hard to talk about that. But yeah, I like Spencer's character development. I like everyone's character development, as I said, but I do truly think that Spencer changes the most, which I like and dislike, because I think towards the end of the show, I think that he becomes someone who isn't himself entirely. I think he's an extremely traumatized person, and therefore he's trying to put on a facade of this strong character, similar to Derek, who I think he really looks up to. But yeah, I think if they ever bring him back, because he's not in season 16, if they ever bring him back, I would like to see glimmers of who he used to be. I think that would be really nice to show that he's healed and kind of gone through like the healing process of everything that happens to him, because he does go through a lot of traumatic experiences the entire show. It's just it's a lot. So yeah, it really changes who he is, and I do like that, but also, you know, it's kind of sad because I have a love for the early season Spencer's, because he is so relatable. He's like definitely autistic, and I really relate to him because of that. And I think it's just great and awesome, and I love him. I really do. The way I mainly interpret this show is as found family, if I'm honest. I think that the older male figures, and then towards the later seasons, Emily, they are the parental figures, kind of, while the rest are somewhat like children. And I think that is just an amazing way for the show to be. although they are friends, there is definitely a family dynamic there in the way that the younger agents kind of, you know, pick on and mess with each other while the older agents oversee and kind of tell them off about it. It's just really fun to watch those dynamics grow and develop because they really do lean into the family type thing. In fact, in the later seasons, the characters actually say they are family. Criminal Minds also tackles a lot of heavy issues, because obviously it's about criminals. That comes with heavy issues. And so I do think if this video has made you want to watch that show, do think thoroughly about it if you do have triggers, because there are a lot of triggering things. You do see mutilated bodies, you see crime scene photos, you see violence, and a lot of alluded to acts of assault. So it can be a very triggering show, but I find a lot of comfort in it. And I am on my second rewatch of it, so I mean, obviously I think it's good, and I think that everyone should watch it. I think it's a great show. But again, I'm completely biased because it's been my special interest for like almost 2 years now, so.
He's got autism.
Honestly, I think in the later season like videos, I will have a lot more to talk about because I will be able to take talking points from the earlier seasons and talk about them, because I don't want to talk too much about the later seasons in this video, like I said earlier, because I want to make sure that I'm keeping things a secret in case you haven't watched them all, in case this video sparks you to watch season 1 and season 2. I don't want to give too much away from season 1, season 2, because I don't want to spoil it. Like it makes me feel bad. But I do hope that this video has inspired you to watch it, because I think it's a great show. And if you have watched it, I hope you somewhat agree with my opinions. If not, that's cool too. And if you're here from my TikTok video that I posted, hi, how are you? I hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm definitely going to make another one. I might even make a part 2 about season 1 if I remember anything else. Like I might, or I'll add it into the season 2 video. But yeah, I've really enjoyed making this, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me, because I am a smaller channel. The likes and the subscriptions just really help me to, yeah, exist on here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And again, I'm Mikey, this is my channel, and that's all. Bye! I was just about to start re-editing the footage because the edited footage deleted itself, which is fun. Anyway, and I completely forgot, happy Easter, guys. I totally forgot tomorrow was Easter. And I hope anyone who celebrates has a great Easter. And yeah, that's all I have to say, so bye!